All right, I finished tearing down the 454 for the 52 rat rod project. And this is the cam. We've seen the lifters that were all egged out. And then this lobe is the one I could see from looking through the bore. And this lifter doesn't look bad enough for how bad this lobe looks. And with finding Fel-Pro intake gaskets, I was pretty sure somebody had pulled the intake and put the lifters in and left the camshaft alone. You see the timing chain gear is super clean GM. There's no cracking or anything in here. Usually the plastic is cracked off of these aluminum plastic gears if they have any kind of miles on them at all. So I was assuming this was still a pretty low mileage engine and pretty virgin, because I thought it still had the factory head gaskets in it. So then I flipped it over. And I don't know if I have to, if I can show you that. My number stamps, well, here, show you one that's good. Let me pause here. Okay, so all of these stampings are almost impossible to read and look like they were stamped over twice. And so I thought, oh shit, somebody pulled the bearings. You see the 7 on there lines up nice and pretty. And well, that one's been double stamped. Yeah, so anyway, I saw that and I thought, somebody's been in the bottom end of the engine. So I proceeded to make my own stamps on the cap and just keep the caps in order as I took them apart. And I think I pulled out 2 and 4 first. And kind of crazy, I don't think I've ever seen this in a motor that I thought was original. But this piston and that piston look nothing alike. You can also see that this connecting rod was coppered on the top end so that they could resize the pin. All in all, we have 4 pistons of this shape and 4 pistons of this shape. Can't say that I've ever seen that before. This engine must have been remanufactured or factory rebuilt, or I don't really know. But here's another problem I found was not only are there 2 of the connecting rods bushed, the bushing's been resized, they actually plated this connecting rod and resized this end with some kind of plating when I take the bearing out. I mean, I know I've never actually seen this done, but I know you can do it. Normally you would just grind the cap and then put new bolts and resize the connecting rod, which somebody obviously did, because with the numbers not matching on the caps, there's not really wear, like the caps were mismatched. So I have to assume they were remanufactured and redone. But this is the only connecting rod that has copper in it. You know, like this one here is just normal. All the rest of them were normal. The rod bearings were all thousandths undersized. And then we go to the main bearings, and you can see a lot of trash went through there, was expected from the camshaft failing. I expected to find a lot of damage to them, but well, let's go over here and we'll look at it in the block. It's easier to pull them out. So this bearing, I don't know if we can see that, is 600 thousandths, 0006. Okay, so they had a little undersized bearing on the mains, but look at this rear main. It's pure copper. This one, which if I can get it out of here, let's see. It's stuck. It's a thousandths undersized, but you can see the trash built up on top. It actually feels like sandpaper. It's rough to the touch, and it's all copper. So you would expect the lower bearing to look that way, except for, I mean, there's some trash that went through it, and there's a small copper line, but the lower bearing looks basically like the other ones. So basically I'm finding all kinds of problems in here that I don't really have an answer for, because I expected to be taking apart a 60,000 mile original motor, and it appears that that is not what we have here. This must have been remanufactured at one point with a couple different methods of resizing things. Yeah, this kind of throws a curveball in our inexpensive 454 rebuild. Originally, we thought we were going to be able to reuse it how it was, and then found out it had a bad camshaft, and so said, okay, we'll take it apart, put a cam in it, and turns out there's a lot more wrong with it than that. It obviously ran with all these parts this way, so like I don't have a problem with the connecting rods other than the trash that went through the bearings from the camshaft. So I could potentially put this back together, but with two different style pistons, it definitely isn't going to be a performance engine of any kind. So we have to do some talking between us, and again, this isn't my project, so I have to have it okayed by a customer. But yeah, this is kind of a curveball to the whole budget build 454, because it looks like everything should be thrown away and we should start over. But maybe we throw some bearings and rings in it, put it back together, and see how long it lasts while we look for a different engine that hasn't been molested. But there's something definitely wrong with this one. So, well, thanks for watching, like and subscribe.